All right, let me first off by saying this is probably one of my favorite Arnold Classics I've seen so far. Reason being, the competition was great. There wasn't like a runaway winner. We all kind of thought Mitch Hooper was going to win. That's why I was rooting for Martin Licis, of course, to see if they can take it away from him. Just for a little, that just only helps competition for next year if Martin took it away now. I think Martin's going to come back next year and be now that he's kind of back. I think he'll be back in the the competitions for a couple of years. I might retire again, sort of thing, but we'll see. But if he comes back again next year, I think him and Mitch are going to be really close. And um, the women's was even quite amazing too. There was a lot of tight competitions. We saw a deadlift record of 701 pounds. It was all around great competition for the drama piece was great. But next, let's talk about the events. The events were definitely quite tough on everyone. You can tell how gassed everyone was. Let's get to that too. So let's start with the Alvin bar. Mitch Hooper took it. I thought for sure he would go a little higher on the deadlift if he had to. He never did his third lift, so we'll see how he does here. I think in May, when he shoots for 515 kilos, that's going to be pretty tough. We'll see. That's still 2 months away, and that's over. He has over 100 pounds to go before he touches that. So we'll see. But overall, the bottom of the athletes still improved. Nick Yardian went a little higher on the deadlift. So he's in a couple of years he could be that next guy to be knocking on the door, especially with how he performed in the last event when taking the event winner on the bag race up the ramps. That was intense, but we'll get to that in a minute. Um, but it could have been a second place difference maker, maybe even first. We'll see. I'd have to do the math, I guess. But with Martin shooting too high in that deadlift, pushing back a little bit. So I think he would have got second had he not done that. That's kind of a rookie mistake as far as the strategy goes. So I'm kind of surprised there. But it's his first year back after a couple years off, and he has been the champion of this before, so he knows what to do. Let's see if he can come back next year a little stronger and polish up those strategy mistakes right there. And a little more fitness would be nice to see too, because we'll get to that in a second next. The dumbbell challenge was great. Obviously, a lot of people were. I thought it'd go a little higher, but in weight and stuff like that. But it was a tougher challenge for sure. That one's always it's more playing off of who does what, and then the folks that are likely to podium end up kind of taking a step back and not exactly putting more weight up there. So that could go up next year if Nick Singleton comes back. Um, uh, and stuff like that. But then stone the shoulder, that was a little more awkward for some of those other guys. Like I think Lucas Hatton could have had a little bit more, but he does have those shorter wingspans, so that didn't help him, of course. And then of course Mr. Mitch Hooper just being consistent on all pieces comes in there and does what he needs to do. Martin Lises did do amazing there, of course, and he has that experience though. That's a very awkward stone, and he knows what he's doing there. It's not an atlas stone that a lot of people can already do naturally, or easier, I should say. It's not an easy thing to do. It's just easier than the stone in the shoulder awkward boulder shape there. Then wow, day two, the stone drag that beat up everyone. I mean, if that was last, that might have changed a couple things. Maybe I don't know, but it's you have to go in with what you get in the order, and Lawrence, I forget his last name, but he was. I said he went backstage after that event, and he said everyone was just beat up. So the fact that he put that out there must have been. As a former strongman himself, he must know how bad that they were. I mean, if you saw it, you saw Martin had to be held up after he finished his, and that was a tough race. So, and then Mitch Hooper really. He didn't finish, which is crazy to me. And that might have been the difference maker too, where it gave an opportunity at the end for someone else to come up and beat him. Like there was still a chance for him to lose that first place spot there. Not much chance, but it was there. Had something. of course, happened to him, like a slip of the bag, something like that. But that stone drag, him not finishing it was kind of astonishing to me. That's the fit. That's something I would never would have bet on for sure. The Austrian Oak, Terry Mitchell did amazing, hitting 5 reps or 4 or 5 reps, and then Mitch only hitting I think 2 or 3, I think 3, and he's not as that's probably his weakest event though. The pressing, of course. So that could have been a different way had it been um, something he needed more points on, of course. Now, as long as he hit a couple reps, he knew that's enough points for him to stay afloat and keep everything going. But man, that the stone drag beat up everyone so bad. I think that did affect the bag race up the ramp. So going up a ramp in general with weight is already going to be like we have to kind of appreciate so far that they already did 5 big events. They all went for a max deadlift, even though Mitch had more in the tank, maybe, but they all still put in a giant effort there. That takes a couple days to recover from. Your hamstrings are burning, your legs are burning, your back is burning. Then you already did 2 pressing events with the dumbbell challenge and the Austrian Oak. That also takes out of you, of course, right? And then the stone in the shoulder, same thing. That is a lot more work to get it moving. Um, and then, of course, you have different pieces of that movement to get it up to your shoulder. And these guys are trashed at this point. Then you add the stone drag. That thing had me tired watching it, and I mean that because well, first I was lifting out in the basement while I was watching it, but then these guys are carrying the stones 30 meters, and then they had to drag that whole thing back, and I think it was 1,800 pounds, if not more. Maybe it was 1,900 pounds, but that is insane. Your legs are already burning from the deadlift the day before. Having pulled a sled before backwards, and it wasn't nearly that weight, of course. Your hamstrings are just burning. You have to do it again, and you just carried 2 stones before that. Well, that's the reason why not everyone finished, and it was a heavy, heavy deal. Um, I didn't see any big controversy to anything that would have changed the whole thing. Had a different event or a different call or something like that. Nothing like that, which is nice. I like a clean win. So congrats to Mitch Hooper there. I was rooting against him just because I wanted to see someone else take it from him just to keep the drama going. So if he wins next year, it'll be 5 in a row. It's amazing for him. But I want to see that like someone like Martin Lisa's come in there and take it from him. Austin Andrade has a good chance next year. Lucas Hatton has a good chance next year. He had a couple mistakes this year and has some pieces to improve upon. But I think he's still it's always event depending. Had their switch one of those events to a squat competition, maybe Lucas Hatton would have taken it with his giant legs. Who knows? Either way, um, everyone did an amazing job. That even Andrew Burton, who was a rookie to the Arnold Classic piece, still has a lot more to improve upon. Bryce Johnson, though, man, that also was a bigger piece than I thought he would be. I thought he'd be a little bit lower in the podium on the standings. I was wrong. Cool, but he did amazing. Everyone on there did amazing. There was no bad efforts that I really saw. Um, I did say Nick Singleton earlier, but I meant Evan Singleton. But I hope he comes back next year. I hope I I do believe Stolman probably didn't accept the invitation or even consider it because he's going for his 5th Worlds here in a month next month, and that's about 6 8 weeks away. But still, it's if it's well, it's a ways away, but still, he's preparing for that most likely. So we'll see. Um, I do want to see something. What I want to see though is someone take it away from Mitch next year. That way he has to come back hungrier the next year, and he does go in with some humbleness, but I think he does know he's going to take these things sometimes. I wish he would go. I wish there'd be a little more drama here at the end, but it makes it a little more fun to the sport. But either way, that's my quick breakdown. I do hope to see um, a little bit wilder turnout in the worlds because that's always going to be a little more of a bigger event when you have instead of 6 events in 2 days, you're going to have 12 events in 4 days if you make the finals. So until next time, make sure you're subscribing and liking the video. But also, the affiliate link is in there as always. Get some Jocko fuel. that is my prime source of protein, vitamins, creatine, everything. So make sure you're doing the same to keep up your fitness. And until next time, appreciate you stopping by.